Oh hi, and welcome back to Mary's Cooking Sticky Pork Stir Fry. Ooh, now this is a recipe that I discovered ages ago on the World Wide Web, the beginning of it, and then I twisted it and turned it a little bit, added in a few things. There's a few little stages to it, a few little things to do, but it's not hard, it's quite simple. You just need a little bit of time. It's a slow cooked recipe, and then we do some other little bits of magic to it at the end. So I'm going to deliver this to you in 3 phases today, and you better just get your excited pants on because we are going for a ride. You are going to need 1 litre of chicken or veggie stock, 1 tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. If you haven't got rice wine vinegar, I reckon for a tablespoon you could probably put apple cider vinegar in there because that loves pork too. Our old mates, ginger and garlic. 3 cloves of garlic and about a thumb size of ginger if you have a weird bulbous thumb. And what, pray tell, kind of pork do you need? I'm glad you asked. About 1 kilo of pork rashers. I think basically that's just pork belly sliced up. But you buy it like this, it's already cut. And it's not expensive, so run along and get some. The first step is basically creating a lovely stock for the pork to slow cook in for a couple of hours and get all soft and delicious and gelatinous and gooey and yummy. So you don't really have to worry too much about how you chop up your ginger and your garlic because you're not going to be eating it. It's simply there to flavour the stock. So I'm going to just chop it quite roughly, throw it into my pot, and I'm going to do the same with my 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to give them a little smack. Get them out of their sleeping bags. You may have noticed that I am all a sparkle today, and that is because it's been a bit of a dreary day today. The weather's been a bit dreary for a couple of days. So I said, why not add some sparkle? Even my shoes are sparkly. I don't even care if it doesn't match. I've gone the full glitter attack, and I'm not even sorry about it. All right, let's pour that stock in. Ooh, you can see it's already warm, and I'm going to add a little bit more water to the bottom because my stock cubes didn't dissolve very well, and it actually looks like someone might have soiled themselves at the bottom of my jug. There we go, that will dissolve in there. Next up, I'm adding my 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of my sugar, and we are going to pop that on to boil. Don't bother following me over to the stove, I'll be right back. Okay, so next we're going to take our little pork rashers while our stock is heating up to a boil, and we are going to just cut them in half. Ugh. I reckon I probably need to sharpen my knife. So you might notice my shout out board today says a shout out to Lisa and Luca. Lisa is actually Richard's sister and my beautiful sister-in-law. She's actually one of the best chefs I know. She used to actually own her own restaurant, but now she doesn't work in the industry at all, but she still makes amazing food. Anyway, her and Luca did make the cookies the other day and they sent through a beautiful photo. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Lisa and Luca because we love you and you're fabulous. And also Flynn too, my other nephew, who I don't think has watched the show yet, weirdly enough. All right, I'm going to take these over and I'm going to add them to the stock. That's already smelling delicious. So it'll take a few minutes to come back up to the boil. Once it hits the boil, we're going to turn it right down so it's just simmering. We're going to chuck the lid on this guy, and then we're going to not come back for like 2 hours. I know, it's intriguing. While our pork is simmering away with the lid on, down on a low heat for 2 hours, we are going to make our glaze. And this is the bit that is the bomb. This is going to be like a flavour explosion in your mouth. Word to the wise, it's high in sugar, but it's high and delicious too. So we're going to allow it. Here's what you need. 2 tablespoons of olive oil or vegetable oil. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of honey, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, about a teaspoon of lemongrass. I couldn't get any fresh, so I've got some in a jar. You want to mince it right up, so if you can get it in paste form, even better. Salt and pepper, chili and ginger. If you haven't got any fresh ginger, just use about, I want to say, a teaspoon and a half of the jar stuff, and a good old bowl for mixing purposes. All right, let's get some of these little bits and pieces measured up. Decided, woo, let's try not to spill oil everywhere. Decided to mix it up for you and measure it as we go so you can see that I do measure things sometimes. So 2 of these guys. Yes. 3 of these guys. Oh, listen to it glug away. 1, 2, 3. Actually, last time I made this, I didn't have much soy left at all, so I used the ponzu sauce, which is a citrus sauce, a citrus soy sauce, very hard to say with a bit of a lisp. Delicious. It was delicious. All right, honey. Now this honey is a little bit crystallized. We don't eat much honey. This is a very dark honey. And it honestly makes no difference to the recipe. So if you've got some honey you need to use up, that's not going to be great on toast, just get amongst it. We need 2 tablespoons of that. So that's not quite 1. Oh, look at my spoon. I've completely bent it. I like to buy the quality silverware. Oh my gosh. There we go. This recipe's worth it. The spoon gave his life, but it's worth it. All right, moving right along. We are going to put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar in as well. Now, before you have a conniption about the amount of sugar in this, I want you to understand that there's also a high amount of fat, so you may as well just embrace it all. There's a lot of veggies in there too. And keeping in mind that this feeds quite a few people, so you don't get all this sugar just to yourself. Also, stop judging me. So we're just going to peel our ginger again, and then I'm going to use the microplane to mince it all up. It's been so nice making these shows and eating all the, well, some of the food that's come out of it as well. But the best part of all has been seeing all of the interaction with you guys and seeing you guys feel inspired to get in the kitchen, and also all the beautiful responses from the kids too. So thank you. We didn't expect so many people to jump on board, but we are loving doing this little cute journey with you. So keep sending in your photos. And while I grate this ginger up, you might like to have a little look at some of the other food that people have been making. If you don't want to, just close your eyes for this bit. You've minced up your ginger, look at that. Don't forget about this bit too. Straight on in. Yummo. That's a bit of gingery goodness right there. We are going to use the same spoon that we used to mush up that ginger, and we're going to get this guy, making a bit of a mess there, and we're just going to chop up all that lovely lemongrass. Do you know, I love the smell of lemongrass. It is so fresh, especially lemongrass and ginger together. What a beautiful combination. And you've got the saltiness of the soy sauce, and you've got the sweetness of the crap ton of sugar you put in there. It's a beautiful marriage of flavour, much like my own marriage. All right, here we go. We're going to pop that in there, all nice. Don't miss out on any of that flavour. We are going to add a crack of salt. That was pepper, and a crack of the other one. And we're going to bring back our little chopping board because we forgot our old mate chilli over here. Now, the seeds, I believe, are where all the heat is in chili. And as I've told you every single flippin' episode, Richard and I, we don't love too much spice, so I'm taking the seeds out. And we are going to do a bit of a wussy version. But that's okay. I'm not even ashamed about it. You just like what you like, don't you? Going to take a spoon, mix that all together. It is a sweet recipe. The first time I made it without the vegetable stir fry, and I think we just had it with some cauliflower rice and a little bit of veggies on the side, and it was so rich that I determined in my heart I would find a way to still be able to enjoy it without taking off my head with the richness, and we have come to a beautiful compromise. You are going to love it. As always, I'm going to just give it a tiny little bit of a taste. Oh, that's so yummy, but it's definitely not really meant for eating on its own. But you can tell it's moving in the direction of amazing. All right, now's the time to sort of clean down your areas. Check that your pork is only simmering and not boiling. Pop this lovely glaze away. Go and relax. I reckon it's time to graduate from your coffee up to your wine, and we'll come back in a little while with some vegetables. As promised, I have graduated from my coffee to a cheeky glass of red. Evening is falling upon us in this household and the excitement is growing. So, take your pot and bring it over to your bench like I have, and get a whiff of those blooming beautiful, amazing fragrances. I'm losing my words because it just smells so flippin' divine. Okay, going to just use a pair of tongs to get all of your pieces of pork out. If you wanted to, you could tip it out and strain them, but I'm doing it this way because I want to hold on to that stock. It smells amazing. It actually will taste lovely too. And you can hold on to that if you want to make a noodle soup or something with it. It'll be a very good starting stock. So these little guys have been cooking for 2 hours on a very low heat. They are tender and they are ready for the next step. I'm going to pop the lid back on my stock and move him out of the way. Don't forget that you are going to need a little scoop of that later. Okay, using a nice sharp knife, it's time to cut your pork up into bite-sized pieces. Don't cut them so small that they completely fall apart. Remember that they've been cooking for 2 hours, so they are quite soft. The smaller you cut them, the crispier they will go though. Now, people are all a little bit different when it comes to fat on meat. I personally love it. I always have, even before it was cool to like the fat. But my mum and my sister, not so much. As in, I do like them. I mean, they don't like fat so much. So look, it's totally up to you. But if you're not a big fan of fat, then you can chop some of it off. I personally think that's pork sacrilege. Next step, you need to pop a little bit of oil into a large pan for frying. I prefer olive oil, that's my favourite. Vegetable oil will do as well, as will coconut oil. Now we're going to give it a good whack of pepper and a good whack of salt. Next, we're going to fry it off in that oil, but we're going to do it in 2 batches or even 3 batches, and that way we'll get a nice little brown crust on it all. Watch out, it will spit at you, so one of these is always good to have. While your pork is cooking, you do need to keep a close eye on it, but it's okay to have a little wine break. Also, you probably should get started with your veggies. You are going to need an array of vegetables suitable for stir frying. So I've chosen sugar snap peas, some carrots, some broccolini, a red capsicum, some lovely large mushrooms, and some pak choys. These are actually baby pak choys cut down in their prime. They're wonderful choys of pak choys. And some cheeky little cashews if you like a bit of a nut. Obviously, all of this fresh produce needs to be washed thoroughly. If you have a good looking one of these, that is dirty. So I'm probably going to use one of these. Probably use all those mushrooms, couple of carrots. You don't need me to tell you the quantities, only you know how much vegetables your family is going to eat. I'm going to chop them, I'm going to wash them, I'm going to get them ready, and I'm going to keep going and making sure all my pork is crispy and delicious. Okay, the veggies are chopped and ready to go. I'm going to sort out my pork, show you the next step. When your pork is all beautiful and gorgeous, tip out any excess fat. Probably don't want to put that down the sink. And pop it all back on into the pan, into the lovely hot pan. This gorgeous glaze that we made earlier goes in next. Keep it on a medium heat and just let those flavours cook through. So we need to strain out your stock. I'm just doing a little bit of it. Once your vegetables are starting to come up to heat, add in a little bit of stock. I've just got about 1/4 cup there. Beautiful. And I'm going to add the rest of my veggies right in there. They don't need very long. If you don't like them very crunchy, cook them for longer. Obviously, if you have a wok or if you have a gas stove top, you're going to get a much more authentic, yummy, delicious stir fry. But we just have what we have, and this is home cooking. I'm now going to take that pork off the heat. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. Okay, now we're going to add the pork and the glaze in with those veggies when they're starting to get a little bit softer, but not too soft. Are you ready? This is so magical. Oh my gosh. Honestly, the ginger just smells insanely good. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I love this dish. Look at all those colours. I'm so excited to taste it. Like, I have a literal excitement building. I'm going to grab a fork. I'm just going to get straight in there because we're about to eat this for dinner. So, you know, I'm not going to plate it all up. I mean, I will for dinner, but let's get a little bit. I probably should get a veggie on there too, but I'm just going to taste the pork. It's hot. Honestly, it's so delicious. Oh, I wish that I could describe. I wish that I could just like send it to you guys. This is amazing. I'm excited. I'm going to have some more. I'm actually going to plate it up for our dinner. Otherwise, poor Richard is not going to get any of this. But look, there's plenty of sugar in there, but there's no carbs. So go to town, friends. Go to town.